Oh wait, so
Let's try this. Okay, that's perfect.
Try it again.
Let's try it again. Okay, they should be able to hear now. I apologize.
yep, I can hear now.
We're good.
Great.
I apologize for that. I had it on mute from when we were. So anyway, we were just not really saying anything, just saying hello. We're so excited you're here. And just to introduce, I'm going to have people introduce ourselves really quick. Just name, neighborhood, district, and any goals. So I'm Rachel Breen, and I work in the council office. I work for the city council, and the neighborhood district program is under the city council. And so I facilitate this on behalf of the council because the information they get from you is so important when they make their decisions. And so they're usually here at all of your neighborhood meetings, just sitting quietly in the back, kind of seeing how the residents feel about different items. But you're such a great resource for them to know exactly how residents are feeling. But I also live in Provo. I live in the Grandview North neighborhood in District 4. And my goal for this year, and you might hate it, is to really explain what's going on. So you'll notice my emails are like action item. This is what you need to do. Here is background information. So, and I'll go into that later. So that has been my goal. I feel like I didn't do a very good job of that before. And so people would get emails and they're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. So that has been my goal. So Paul, if we can start with you. Your name, neighborhood district, and any goals that you have.
Paul Woodward, I'm in the Rock Canyon neighborhood and have been involved in the area for a few years. Quite a few years. I'm director of the Freedom Festival. And goals is to support what Rachel wants us to do. So that's what I find to be effective. So good to be with you.
Hi, I'm Rhoda Goffin. I'm in Indian Hills District 1, new to the board. And I want to learn more about the city, communicate with my neighbors, help them communicate back with the city council.
Oh, you're kind of squished in there, Ty. I apologize.
Hello, I'm Lynn Sorensen in the Pleasant View neighborhood. And we have a very pressing goal right now. And that is that the city ordinance for noise has been rewritten and will be decided at the city council meeting next week. And you can imagine we are the brunt of the noise of Pleasant View, right by the BYU Stadium.
And that actually got changed to the 28th instead of the 14th.
Really? Okay, that's good
Yes.
to know. That gives us more time to rustle up support. So we're fine with noise in the football games and the Stadium of Fire, but there's a whole lot of other stuff. And those of you who've been in the district meetings, you've seen a lot of data that we have on that. So anyway, that's a really big goal to us, but we're also very interested that any new developments in our neighborhood are consistent with the neighborhood, and it's great to be here with all of you. Thank you.
I'm Kristen Winward. I'm from Sherwood Hills neighborhood in District 1, and my goal is to just be more involved in this.
I'm Jeff Olson from District 1, River Bottoms. I'm also on the Landmarks Commission as well, so I'm a serial volunteer. My real goal is to teach people how to drive in a roundabout on 3700.
Good evening. My name is Scott Murray. I'm a lifelong resident of the city. District 1. I'm new to the committee representing the Edgemont neighborhood. And really, I just want to get involved because I love this city. I grew up here. I grew up in Edgemont and just want to get involved and make a difference.
Becca Curl. I am with District 1 and the Indian Hills neighborhood. And I'm excited to have Rhoda also with Indian Hills this year. And so one of my goals this year is to do more neighborhood meetings interspersed between the district meetings.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
I'm just here so I can see all of it. Oh, okay. I'm Catherine Hall. I'm with District 2. This will be my third year program. I don't know if goals, but my concerns are the over occupancy in Southeast Provo, as well as some that are not over occupied but have more cars than what are allotted for the neighborhood. A lot of those streets are more narrow than other streets in other neighborhoods, and so that becomes an issue. As well as we're having an ongoing project with the Old Willow Trail for the children going to the new Wasatch Elementary School. So hopefully we can get that. We've been trying to get it done for 2 years. Maybe we'll get it done this year. That's our hope.
My name is Ruth Eldridge Thomas. I live in the Foothills neighborhood. My goals are to be slightly less snarky. I have a quota. And really just to make our neighborhood and Provo a really great place to live and work.
Hi, everyone. I'm Laura Harper, and this is my first time kind of even volunteering for anything civic, so it's exciting for me. And I'm originally from South Africa, but I've been for over 20 years. I came here to BYU in the 1980s, left, came back, and I love Provo. Foothills District, I guess that Foothills neighborhood around Kiwanis Park, I guess that's District 2. My goal is to listen and learn.
My name is Kiana Hoover. I'm also a first time volunteer for Provo South. I would like to see slower traffic on Slate Canyon and maybe some more crosswalks.
Ashley Raybeck. This is my third year and my goal, I'm from Provo South, and my goal is to represent my neighbors and the different issues that we have. So.
I'm Lara Murray from Wasatch neighborhood. I applied to this because we had a vacancy and I got a little bit guilted into it by my neighbors. But I just want to listen and learn and figure out how to make them proud so that we can facilitate good communication.
James Hall from Oak Hills neighborhood. This is my first time in the neighborhood committee. We're excited to be here. I just wrapped up getting on the design review committee in Provo. I served for several years and I'm excited now to help in neighborhood district 2. And my priorities are safe routes to school for the new Wasatch Elementary. And I'd love to mirror the efforts happening in Slate Canyon, taking great care of that area in Rock Canyon as well.
I'm Brooke Barnes. I am from Lakewood neighborhood, District 3. I think I'm starting my third year on the neighborhood board, and my goals are just to use our matching grant money wisely and in our area, just responsible growth. Okay, Rob.
Everyone, Rob Slater, Franklin neighborhood, and migrated from River Bottoms, long time River Bottoms resident, but I love the transition from suburbia to yeah, anyway, you know what I mean. Just excited about seeing I'd like to see a renaissance of the Franklin area, a lot of improvements on what used to be kind of a bit of a blight, admit. So a lot of people are improving the area, and I just want to be a part of that. I'm excited about contributing to that growth.
Hi, my name is Jay Shepard. I currently reside in the Franklin district, but I am representing the East Bay business.
We grabbed him because he works in East Bay and we have not had an East Bay rep in years. And in the code, it says business owner or resident, and we were like, can you please represent East Bay? But you're still representing your neighborhood because they're both in District 5.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here my first time in civic capacity in my life, so I'm excited to help out where I can. And I'm passionate about pedestrian safety and opportunities for youth recreation, and a lot of other things there. Thank you.
I'm Sarah Dixie in Carterville, and this is my third year, and he's right, just follow boss lady. No, just kidding. Rachel does amazing things for the city, and my goal this year is to be actively involved in helping with redevelopment for the city, especially the infrastructure and utilities.
David Alder, first time on this neighborhood area. Goals, we learn more about city government and the way it works, but also I can see some improvements, especially along the Provo River Trail in that. So we have a large homeless population that likes to live in that area.
I'm Kristen Kramer. I'm in the River Grove neighborhood District 4. This is my first time with the neighborhood program. A neighbor friend convinced me to apply. So here I am. As far as focuses for our neighborhood specifically, 820 North and its future plans and the bridge are like the talking point right now. So
I'm Stephen Burton, Grandview North. I'm new. And my goals are to help the community concerns get up to the city, and then the city, things that the city have available to the community down to the residents so they know what's available to them.
I'm Mel Smith from the Grandview North neighborhood, also just for. My main goal, and I would concur what Sarah said about Rachel, she's been amazing. My main goal is to not bug her as much, except when it comes to neighborhood grant money, which I think we should have more. And that's what I'll be lobbying for, is more grant money. Because I think we got an increase, didn't we, from 5,000 to 7,500. And 7,500 is, I mean, we're grateful for that, but it's really not enough to do some projects like to do.
I'm Melanie Epling, and I am from the Grandview South neighborhood, District 4. My first time here. I've been a vice chair for a neighborhood program when it was a smaller scale. I'm also a crossing guard sub, so you'll see me probably in every one of your neighborhoods waving to you. So that's one of the things I do. Oh, goals, just to understand what's going on and help.
I'm Beth Hedengren with Grandview South, and I'm happy to be with Melanie and all of the new people in District 4 and all of the continuing people in District 4. My goal is to continue. I've loved how our district, we cut district goals, you know, how we've worked not just for our individual neighborhoods, but for the district as a whole. And we've had several projects that we've been successful with, and I'm looking forward to working on some other projects, some continuing projects as well. And I also want to say,
Hey, Mr. Ream, I'm just gonna call you Mr. I can't remember your first.
Thomas.
Thomas
Thomas
Ream.
Ream. Hello. Been in Franklin South for about 4 years now, District 5, and I'm just excited to meet you guys and learn as much as I can, give the input that I can for my neighbors, owners, renters. Excited to get involved. Meet y'all. Yep.
I'm Jason Ream. That is my son. I told him to get involved, and I'm excited he chose to. I'm in Joaquin. I represent kind of the landlords. There's a lot of obviously student housing in Joaquin. I own student housing. I'm not a Provo resident, but I was born here and grew up here. So I love Provo, and I love representing, trying to be an in-between between landlords and neighbors. And this district program has been amazing. I think, and anyone new, you'll really like it. I love what the city's trying to do. So.
I'm Laura Levitt, also representing Joaquin. Oh my gosh, in terms of goals, Joaquin is pretty complex. We have students, we have walkability, like in terms of walkability, safety, we have parking issues, we have like, there's just like a great mix in Joaquin. There's a lot of stuff going on there, and I'm happy to be involved and trying to work it all out.
I'm Tom Spencer. I'm also in Joaquin. Yeah, Joaquin is complicated, but I guess what's important to me is ultimately making a better place to settle down and making it a more beautiful place. And yeah, that sounds something.
Name is David Harding. I live in the Dixon neighborhood, and the thing I'd like most to see accomplished is more engagement with the neighbors, just interaction and being just engaged in the neighborhood.
I'm Caitlin Field Garcia. I am in the downtown neighborhood.
I just.
Representing the residents. That's another one we never have. So we're super excited.
Yeah, I just saw that there was an opening and I really love community stuff and I've always kind of been interested in things like this. So I as far as goals, I just want to kind of like learn a lot from everyone, meet people, and yeah, see how we can support. I'm really interested. I work at the United Way Community Center in South Franklin, and I'm just really interested in like building connections and making neighborhoods better. So yeah.
I'm Christy Batchelor from the Timp neighborhood, and goals that I have are just to find out, sort of what my neighbors are, what their goals are and what their interests are, any concerns that they have, and just be able to effectively communicate that.
I'm Crystal Vomosil. I'm brand new. But I have two amazing examples in my neighborhood, Soraya and our councilwoman, Rachel. So I feel like, and I just like to listen and learn and to understand the city and understand the neighborhood and their needs.
I'm Soraya Hillam, and I've been on this since the district thing started, but I've been in Mazer for many years before that, working with neighborhoods. I've always really cared about communication between the residents in the city to make sure that residents know what is available, because we have so many amazing things that are happening, and that the city knows what the residents are concerned with, because a lot of things can be taken care of when there's better communication.
Can they hear me when I talk? No sound on, so I don't think so. On you.
I can, okay, Zach said that he can hear.
Oh, okay. Maybe it was just a soft,
Yeah.
maybe just a soft voice. Let's see, where did we stop? Eric?
I'm Eric Chase. I'm in the North Park neighborhood. My goal is just to help us plan and make our neighborhoods livable. Great for everyone.
And we had Sharon Mehmet. You wanna stand up? She's like, no.
I'm sure, Mehmet, I'm District 1 and I'm not new to this program. Sorry.
And Angie?
Angie Carter, I'm in the Provost and I'm in District 2. I am new to the program, although I've been to a lot of meetings. So, and my goals are to help us make progress on our Spring Creek Park. And also to figure out the parking situation in our neighborhoods. So,
Did I miss any board members? Oh, yes, the online ones. Can you tell me, like, who's online? Have them speak?
Yeah. Can you all hear me from there?
Yes.
My name is Zach Holtzaffel. I'm in Rock Canyon, District 1, and I'm happy to be a part of this. I wish I was there with you all tonight, but I appreciate this Zoom. And my goals are to just help liaison between the city and our district or neighborhoods, increase participation. And as my neighbors participate and the city reflects their values, the city gets even better and better. And just happy to be here.
Looks like Bonnie's on and she's having trouble hearing.
Oh, okay. Bonnie still can't hear.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else online?
Yeah, well, I think they can hear and she just said that it's very quiet.
I'm here.
Oh, Daniel Friend. Yes, Daniel.
Daniel Friend, Franklin South. I've been a vice chair of the District 5 board for this last year. And my goal for this year, now that I've got another Franklin South rep to help me out, is to have some neighborhood meetings. So we'll talk later and get on that.
Anyone else? Bronson?
Yeah, my name's Bronson Ruiz. I'm in the district neighborhood, part of was it Area 5. I hope I'm saying that right. My biggest goal is just to do things that not only bring the neighborhood together, like Mr. Harding said, but also anytime I can see a place for improvement, that's kind of my goal in doing this.
Get everyone online.
Shane. We got a few more.
Jane, August?
Or we can come back. There's Kevin.
Yeah, my name's Kevin Cook. I'm in the Spring Creek neighborhood, District 2. My goals are just to learn as much as I can since I'm new, so I can help as much as I can.
Okay, do we have any others online?
Somebody's on, their name's not showing up. I'm not sure who. That might have been Bonnie.
Okay. Okay, well, they can hop on. We have Counselor Whipple over here. We have our maps of our neighborhood districts and our council districts. So she is Council District 5, but she also takes on Neighborhood District 5 a lot of times she's at those meetings. And we have Counselor Becky Bogdan, who's Council District 3 and is involved in everything, right? Oh, you are. And so she has, you can see on the map the different districts. And then in the way back, I've got Michael Sanders. He's a policy analyst for the city council. And Jennifer Dees, she is extraordinaire. If you ever see social media posts that are super cool and fun and awesome, that's Jennifer. If there are social media posts that are super boring, that's and Jennifer, she's at the meetings a lot helping out. Okay, just to kind of give a little history real quick. Provo's neighborhood program began in 1968. The purpose was to give input on the general plan, and back then they worked under the mayor and they were appointed by the mayor. There's only 19 neighborhoods. In 1974, it increased to 24. They were kind of done with the general plan. So the emphasis was on beautification of neighborhoods. In 1993, the program then became under the city council instead of the mayor. And that's when they started with residents electing their neighborhood chairs. They started the matching grants in 1996, and somewhere in that time it grew to 34 neighborhoods. 2000, it became in the Provo City Code, and then at the end of 2022, the city council created the neighborhood district program. So instead of each neighborhood being their own, and with your neighborhood chairs being elected by the residents, it went to the 34 neighborhoods are still neighborhoods, but now they're grouped into 5 districts that have similar concerns. And the board members are appointed by the council, like you were, where you apply and then people give input, and then you are run by the council. In fact, we're going to do a recognition on Tuesday for the new council members. Hopefully you got that invitation. I think I mailed it out to the new people saying, hey, the city council would like to recognize you. Would like to say goodbye to the ones that have done their term. Welcome to the new ones, and then we'll have a little reception in here afterwards where you can get to meet your other board members. Okay. Your responsibilities. You are appointed to 4-year terms. We understand if you have to leave early, if you have to move or like that, we're just excited you're here with us. We'll take you for as long as we can. They always emphasize this: no implied legislative or executive authority. You are a representative of the neighborhood. Your job is to communicate. You can't tell the mayor what to do. I mean, you can, but it won't do anything. Like you can't say, well, I want this to happen. I mean, you can request, you can ask, you can lobby, but you don't have any power that that's gonna make this happen. And that's something that was confusing in the old program. We had a lot of people say, well, we had a neighborhood meeting and we decided we didn't want this development. Why is it happening? And it's like, oh, you're just to give us, you know, to tell us what you like, what you don't like. You can't stop someone from developing. That's the city council or the planning commission. Okay, so your main job, listen to your neighbors, give feedback to the planning commission and city council. They super listen to you. So when you have your 3 minutes, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when you have your 3 minutes to talk to the planning commission and the city council, they are really paying attention. I can't tell you how many planning commission meetings I've been to where they say, okay, now the neighborhood chair can speak or a district chair can speak and no one's there. And they go, oh, I guess they don't care. I guess we'll go ahead and okay this. And so they really listen to what you say. You're to represent the concerns of your neighborhood to your other board members. When you're doing your agenda, make sure if there's a problem in your neighborhood, say, hey, we've got a problem. We want to talk about this at our next meeting. And organize meetings, events, activities, projects in your community. You review matching grant applications. So when someone wants to do a matching grant project, it has to be approved by the board before it can go forward. And brand new, you approve traffic study results. So residents no longer go to the traffic manager to request a traffic study. It has to go through you. So they can either contact you directly or email you or at a meeting. And then you say, yeah, that is a problem street. I do think we need a traffic study. Or, I don't know what they're talking about. That's not a problem on that street. Did you have a question?
I think you said we approved the results. We approved the
requests.
Okay.
You approve the requests of them. And this started because a citizen wanted a traffic study on their street. Their street was 1 block long. It was like T's on either side. And so the city spent a lot of man hours doing this. And when we presented it at a neighborhood meeting, everyone said, why are we wasting our time on this? There's only 3 people that live on that street. Like, what is happening? And so the traffic manager said, you know what? These are now going through you guys. He doesn't want to take that on anymore, deciding which should be done a study and which shouldn't. Because you guys know the neighborhoods better than anyone when it's needed. For the leadership duties, in your first meeting of the year, we're going to have our elections for chair, vice chair, and secretary. The chair presents the concerns of the district to the planning commission and the city council, presides over neighborhood district meetings, provides the final agenda to the neighborhood coordinator, and signs the matching grant award letters. The vice chairs do all the duties of the chair in their absence or request. It's quite normal to have the chair give all their duties to a vice chair. Totally fine. And you have 2 vice chairs, so you can split it up if you want. Secretary takes the meeting minutes, records the board members' attendance, records votes and opinion polls. This is super important. I am not going to record any votes or opinion polls. Like when you're like, do we like this project? Do we not like this project? I don't want me as a city employee being the one taking the count. That needs to come from one of the board members. So that's the secretary. And you verify that the neighborhood coordinator administers the matching grant funds. Some of these might change. We're trying to get funding for an AI program to take minutes. One of the problems with being secretary, you're so busy taking minutes, you can't participate in the meeting. So we're trying to get an AI program to take over that. And then if we do get that, then we might give the secretary the duty to provide the final agenda to me and take that off of the chair's plate. Okay, just really quick, elections. Oh, sorry. What was that?
When will you know whether
Michael, when will we know when we get the AI program for the minutes?
soon?
Repeat that one more time, please.
When do we know trying to get the AI program for the meeting minutes?
Right, so right now we're deciding if we're just going to find it in the council office budget to get it done, or if we're gonna roll it out citywide, but I would say probably a month or two. Or less.
No, so we will see. Okay, so just real quick, so in the past, we've tried to do like a normal election where people just get up and say, I want to run, people write their names down. It's real messy. No one can be like, what was that person's name that said they wanted to run? I don't know how to spell this. I'm just gonna scribble names, and it's super hard on Zoom to do it, because they're doing it in the Zoom chat and then they're like sending it to everyone. So everyone's seeing their vote. It's been a hot mess. So last year we did it where the board members decided if they wanted to run beforehand, so I could print out ballots and I could create a poll on Zoom. So really easy, you're just checking boxes, and on Zoom, they're just checking boxes. So I will be, District 1 has already had this where when I send you your agenda, I'm also saying, let me know if you want to run for chair, vice chair, or secretary. And so this is kind of how I'm thinking we'll do it. So the board members email me if they want to run for chair, vice chair, or secretary. And it's kind of two different categories, chair, vice chair, or secretary, not both. And then the current chair cannot run for chair again, but the other positions, vice chair, secretary, they can run again. There's nothing in the code saying they can. Just the code says the chair can't run for a second one. They have to have a year in between. And then that way, if I get that information, I can print the ballots. I can do the Zoom polls. We'll do a single ballot per person. Like you'll get up and say, I want to be chair, and kind of introduce yourselves to the people at the meeting, or why you want to be secretary. They vote for their top 3 chairs and their top 1 secretary person. And then we go on with other parts of the meeting. And for that one, we have other staff count those votes. And then, and the current chair conducts the meeting until the new chair is elected. But a lot of times the new chair will say, I want the current chair to continue conducting. That's quite normal. Or for the District 1, we're actually doing the telling who won the election at the very end. So the Sharon Mehmet, the current chair, will conduct that whole time. And then starting with your next meeting, the new chair will conduct. And usually the current secretary takes minutes for that first meeting. If there's no current secretary, we usually ask for a volunteer. We did have someone say they would do it for District 1, or I can do it from the notes from the video, but we're trying to get that AI so we don't have to worry about that. Does that sound like that'll work? Are you guys okay with telling me if you want to run for a certain office beforehand? And usually the way we do it is that you vote for your top 3 for chair, and whoever gets the most votes is chair, and whoever gets the second and third most votes, they're the vice chairs. Or let's say the person who gets the most votes can't be chair again or doesn't want to be chair, they want to be vice chair instead. We just go with the second place one and push that one down to vice chair. It worked really well last year, so. That makes sense. Okay.
When is this done again?
So that's always your first meeting of the year. So for District 5, that's not till March. District 1, their first meeting is next week. Okay, emails. I know you're so sick of my emails.
Never.
But that's why I say it might be a good idea to do a separate email for just your neighborhood ones, because you do get a lot. So it's something new. The land use emails used to come from the planning secretary in the development services department. We're not doing that anymore. The land use emails are coming from me. And so what I'm doing is I'm explaining exactly what you need to do in that email. I'm linking it to other information. I'm giving you background information. I'm bringing you maps. I do a grammar request. I get the information. So when you see it, you're getting a whole bunch of information. And you can decide what emails you want. Right now, I'm going to send you, if it's something that just pertains to your neighborhood, I'm only going to send it to the neighborhood people. If it's a rezone where it has to go to a district meeting, I'm going to send it to everyone in your district. Usually if it's a citywide item, we don't send it out, but sometimes citywide really means downtown Provo. And then I send them to the downtown people to kind of give them, hey, heads up. But I tell you exactly, I asked Bill Pepperoni of Development Services, what is the most important thing I needed to tell you? He said, contact the planner if you have questions. We always have the planner's name, phone number, and email address with any land use items. Do not call me, call the planner. That's their job. Their job is to explain it to you. I am not a planner. I don't know the code super well. So just kind of show, this is what you used to get. You used to get an email and this is what it said. And you were like, okay, have fun with that. And you were like, oh, okay. Like, is this going to a meeting? Is this like, you didn't know what to do with this email. And so now the emails kind of go like this, where I say Dixon and Franklin representatives, just them. Heads up, car wash, another car wash in Provo, because we're all sick of the car washes in Provo. And I'm like, hey, this is what the developer says he wants to do. They're asking for a conditional use permit. This will not go to a neighborhood meeting, but it will go to planning commission. So you might, I'll give you a heads up when that happens. And then I'll have like actions. And now I do it in bold red, action item. So in this one, I'm like, hey, pay attention for when this goes to planning commission. Inform your neighbors. Here's some cons, here's some pros. Like make a comment at the public hearing, inform your neighbors what's happening. If you have questions, contact the planner. And I did a map of where it's located and then a map of how they wanted it to be. And the neighborhood chair, he's not here today, but he ran with it. So good, so good. Such a good example of what to do. So he posted on social media, hey, proposal for empty lot between Franklin and Dixon. Hey, someone wants to go to car wash. He kind of copied and pasted from my email. What are your thoughts? Please make your voice heard. And boy, did people make their voice heard. So immediately he got 35 comments, everyone going, enough for car wash. And then what was even better, the development services director saw it and said, hey, he called me up. Rachel, why are they posting about this? There can't be a car wash here. I'm like, well, you accepted the application and it came to me. And he's like, what? And so he went, he's like, you can't have a car wash there. They tried to sneak it in over Christmas break when all the planners were gone.
Wow.
And so he said, no, it's not permitted nor wanted. And then the neighborhood representative, he didn't stop there. He asked the residents, what do you want on this corner? Because it's just an empty business right now. And they came up with really great ideas. And then he's like, I'm going to send those to the developer and say, we want this instead. Perfect. A1. Exactly what we need to do. Yes.
Can you share the context of the Facebook group? Was it just their neighborhood district? Or was it a city?
It was just his, I think it was the Franklin neighborhood group. And so he shared it just on him. We have neighborhood district Facebook groups that I will share stuff on. And if it's something like I feel is super important, like a public hearing, I'll share it on the individual ones. But it means more if it comes from you on those individual neighborhood ones, because they know you and they trust you. I'm like the enemy. They're like, I don't know who this Rachel Breen is. She works for the city. We're not trusting anything she's telling us. So if it comes from you, they're gonna pay attention to it. Okay, meetings, super important. Do not try to contact me at 4 o'clock on Wednesdays, because that's when I'm down here setting up tables and chairs, checking the AV, getting the food, all of that. I have a lot of people that are like, well, I sent you slides at 5:55. And I'm like, well, they're not going to the meeting. So, and I'll say in the email, I need the slides by 3 o'clock. So, so that's kind of my little preference. Once it hits 4 o'clock on Wednesdays, don't expect a long conversation with me on the phone. Now, as far as the meetings, these are your meetings. District 1, they start with a prayer and a pledge of allegiance. I like stole this flag from some other room and no one has noticed. And we've had it here this whole time, so District 1 could do the pledge of allegiance in their meetings. The other districts haven't done that. They can if you want. You just tell me. Also, like where you want to sit. District 1 and District 4 like all their board members to sit up front. District 3 likes only the leadership to sit up front. 2 and 5 don't want to sit up at front at all. They like to be in there. It's up to you. It's how you want to set it up. Now we have much bigger boards. It's going to be really hard to fit everyone up front, but we will try. And when we're in the council chambers, I think there's 13 spaces, so there might need to be a few down below. Or you might decide you don't want to sit on those chairs in the council chambers. It's up to you. I'll set it up how you want me to set it up. District 1, they don't want hot food at their meetings. They just want cheese and crackers and fruit. So that's what I do for District 1. Other ones, District 5 usually is full of kids. I try to do pizza for District 5. It's up to you. You tell me what you want on that. So I will send you a draft agenda 2 weeks before your meeting, where I say, hey, here's some ideas of what to talk about. Let me know. And so I get these, I make the draft agenda. I have a spreadsheet. Every time city staff says, I want to talk to the neighborhoods about fire safety. I want to talk to the neighborhoods about recycling. I put it in the spreadsheet. Every time a resident calls me up and says, I want to talk about this street. Every time a board member or at a meeting, they say, I want to talk about this item, I put it in my spreadsheet. And that's how I get the information for the draft agendas. And so I'm going to be missing information that you want to talk about. So you need to tell me what you want to talk about. If you're like, I don't like any of that, I want to talk about this issue, that's totally fine. I'm just giving you ideas. Some of them we have to talk about, like if there's a zone change, something like that, then we do want to have that at the meeting. But other things, a lot of times I'll write optional. Provo School District, they want to come to every meeting. They want to talk. But sometimes we run out of time. I'm like, sorry, Provo School District. We don't have time for you this time. But so lots of people want to come, but it's up to you what you want, and let me know if it's not on the agenda that you want. They have a certain order. This is from the mayor, this order. Department topics first. So if you want someone from the city to present, the tree guy or recycling guy or any of those, if you want them to present, they have to be first because the mayor does not want them staying late. Next is planning items. And again, that has to be one of the first items because according to the code, a city planner has to be here when we discuss land use items. And all city employees that are not council employees have to be out by 7. So we try to do those. So sometimes I'm like, okay, we don't have time to talk about these 5 issues because I've got to get them all done by 7 o'clock because they all have staff. And then after that, that's when you can have your additional topics. Provo School District, talking about matching grants, talking about concerns in your neighborhood. Then we can do those. We usually try to have the meetings go from 6 to 7:30. Sometimes they've gone to 8, sometimes 8:15, 8:30. We try not to, but sometimes when you get a really heated argument going, you don't want to shut it down. You want people to be heard. And then at the very end, we have public comment. So once you give me what you want on the agenda, I publish it a week before the meeting. I put it on social media. I put it on the website. And then we have our signs. So you have your little signs and you can feel free to grab some signs where you put them out in your neighborhood, and these can go in the park strip. These are the only signs in Provo that are allowed to be put in the park strip. Usually just put them out a couple of days before the meeting because otherwise kids and wind and rain destroy them. And you don't want people confused on which Wednesday it is. So usually just a day or 2 before the meeting, you put them out. Some districts are super fancy, districts 2 and 4, and they made their own signs that say District 2 on them, and they're bigger. and stuff like that. And that's something you can do. So at the end of the meeting, you can come grab signs. And the board members who left were told to give their signs to the new board members or bring them to me. Oh, and then slides are due 3:00 the day of the meeting. If people try to give me a flash drive during the meeting, I don't like to do that. We've had some bad experiences with people just handing us flash drives for public meetings, so I like to be able to see them beforehand. Okay, just really quick development process, and I'll bring this up before every planning item. Sometimes people come when they're in that idea phase. They'll be like, hey, I have an idea for a bakery in District 5. What do you think? And then they'll be like, ooh, not doing that. So a lot of times if it's just an idea, a lot of times they've submitted their application, they're in the department review process. That's where it's going back and forth. The city says, sorry, your parking isn't correct. They have to redo it. They send it back. They look at it again. So that's usually when they come to our meetings to present on their projects. And then it goes to the planning commission. The planning commission is a recommending body. They just recommend if they think the council should pass something, and then it's the city council who actually decides. So sometimes we get a planning item when it's in between here. And a lot of times people say, well, it's already been to the planning commission, it's too late. No, because the city council makes the decision. Planning commission just recommends. And yes.
Aren't there some things that the planning commission can approve?
They do, but they don't go to our meetings.
They don't have to go to our meetings.
They do not go to our meetings from the planning department. So just the rezones, general plan amendments, ordinance text amendments. Yes.
So like last night, they had Rugged Grounds, they made a decision for, what was it? What do they call that?
Project plan.
The project plan.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily have the latitude, they don't have legislative powers. Right. So the only thing that they can do is rubber stamp what's in the code. Okay. So like last night, they were told you have to say yes because this meets everything in the code. So it's a chance for public comment, yet they don't have the power that the council.
And Sarah AC brought up a good point when I first started. She said it's disingenuous to bring those kind of applications to a neighborhood meeting because they have to be rubber stamped. And it makes the residents feel like, well, I don't have a voice. Well, neither do the planning commission. You know, it has to be. So we try to only bring the items where you actually have a say in that. And so, and some people, yes, Sharon.
Sending emails to us about them because
yes,
that seems the place to give input.
Yes. Yes, and that was like that, where I gave the example where I sent the email about the car wash. I said, this is not going to a neighborhood meeting. Yes,
I'll
Sarah.
just make a comment. There was a very hot topic for my neighborhood in planning commission last night, and I spoke, and I would not have seen it had I not been watching her emails, because according to the city code, they have to notice 10 days before on their website. If you don't get the mailing card, if you don't see the sign in the yard, you're out of luck. So like read her emails like a hawk, because I almost missed the opportunity to get my neighbors involved in something I knew they would be upset about. It went okay, but I mean, I knew that they would have been mad at me if I hadn't relayed that information.
And that one was weird because they originally applied in 2019. So we would have been notified in 2019, and then all of a sudden we're just like, oh, this is going to planning commission. What? Oh, we didn't know because it was many years ago. And some neighborhood chairs, they really like it when the planners, when the applicant, the developers come really early in the process, because then you have more say in what it's gonna look like. You can say, you know what, that's a horrible place for the entrance, or this part of the property floods every year, and they have time to change it. But other neighborhood representatives like it when it's here, because then they can see an actual plan. It's not just an idea, they actually have documents. Yeah, sure.
I mean, you say we have more say, we really have no say, but we can give input.
But we can give input.
And this is the easier place to give input. Well, like you said, it's easier for the developer if we're giving input here because he hasn't spent money on drawings.
Right.
By the time he
It's
spent
always
money on
the-
drawings,
the
it's
money
easier
on
for
drawings.
us to be visual about what he's actually doing. So pros and cons on both.
It is. It really is pros and cons on both. And also, they do not have to come to our meetings. Whenever it's a zone change, general plan amendment, the ordinance text amendment, that's not citywide, I ask them to come. So far, they've all agreed. Even though I say it's voluntary, they don't have to come every single time they've come. But sometimes, because we do a set schedule every quarter, it doesn't fit in that time. District 3 is going to have one of those where it's going to planning commission and city council like 2 weeks before your meeting. So in that case, I'm gonna read the email, I'm gonna send the email with all the documents I can get and say, hey, you gotta make sure to tell your neighbors and if they're concerned, they need to go to planning commission, they need to go to city council and make comment. Yes.
So, being a neighborhood chair for years, one of the things that I love is the staff report. I don't know, am I going ahead?
Oh, no, that's perfect.
The staff report comes out a week before planning commission. The staff report will have the map, the staff report will have renderings, the staff report will have a ton of information.
Parking.
Yeah.
Occupancy, yeah.
So a lot of the things that I like to do is steal some of the stuff from the staff report and put that on my Facebook post when it goes out to all of my people. And then that way they've got all this stuff and they can be all excited when they go to planning commission and can have a comment. Or there are times when people, especially in my district, have a lot of farmers. And it's a conflict of interest for them to go to planning commission because either they're renting the land from the developer or something is there. And so they like to be able to have someone that they can call and say, hey, can you represent my views to the planning commission? And can you represent my views to the city council? So like Rachel said, it's pretty important for you to be available so that people can feel comfortable to reach out to you and say, can you direct me to where more information goes? Or would you be willing to share address statements before in planning commission and or, I've done little synopsises or whatever. And a lot of times they want to stay anonymous. And so that's why they want to go through you.
Okay. So but along with that, part of the reason we maintained this quarterly meeting thing, so that if we needed or wanted, we could have meetings in between.
Yes, yes.
And you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong. That doesn't mean this room may be available, but if I understand correctly, Provo City School District, if you call it a town hall, they can't charge you a whole lot of money to use the building.
It depends, because Brooke, you held it at the school and they did not charge you. But Haley held it at a school and they did charge her. But we'll reimburse you for that. Yeah, we have the fire station. So District 1 usually has their neighborhood meetings at the fire station. You can have them here. District 3 usually does schools.
I mean, that could be a matter of the wording and have to look into it, because if we don't need to pay them.
Yeah, I don't know how Brooke managed it.
Sorry,
David.
A couple times we've talked about, being aware of what's going on so we can get to the planning commission, we can get to the council meetings, we can have our voices heard during our 3 minutes or 2 minute, and whatnot. I'd love to hear from our council members if they agree or disagree, but I found that while the council will listen in those meetings or whatever, it was often a less effective time to let your opinions be known. If you can get, as soon as the planning commission makes a recommendation, that's a great time to send an email to the counselors and let them know beforehand. Sometimes that last night, it's more difficult at that point, and you can engage in the conversation more if you're not waiting to the night of the decision.
I think he was spot on as far as like what I watch all of the planning commission meetings. And so I value input of the residents there. And I take that 2 weeks or a week or however long that transition is to figure out some of those answers that I can't get in work meeting. And a lot of the times we all ask a ton of questions during the work meeting. So if you go to a council meeting and we're not asking questions, it's because we've asked them all during the work meeting. And everything that goes through, sometimes I'll have them repeated in the second meeting because they were that important and that hot of a topic during the planning. But what I am finding is a lot of people that are really concerned at planning commission feel that planning commission is when it's done. It's not, it moves to us and we're the finalists. And so they won't show back up at the night meeting that we have. And so, like I said, all these things are really important. But with me, and Rachel can be different, I tell my people, 5 o'clock on Monday, do not send, I'm like, Rachel, don't send me anything, because I have to have time to kind of decompress. And Tuesday morning, sometimes we start at 10, and I have 5 kids, and I cannot read your emails while I am, my rule of thumb is I try to stay engaged in my meetings. So I'm not reading your emails. And so if you're sending me emails after 5 o'clock on Monday, they're not going to get read until Wednesday. And by then I'm not going to know your concerns. And I think that's fair for us because it's some council members do and respond, but I'm there for a reason. I'm not there to read my emails. Does that make sense?
And I will say, planning commission, they read your emails. A lot of times you're like, I only got 2 minutes to speak. I only have 3 minutes to speak. Send an email to the planning commission, send an email to the city council, because they do read them. They will even print them out, drive to the property, read your email as they're looking at the property. Yes.
Just verifying. An email really is fine. It's not like sometimes in your congressperson's office, an email gets 1 tick mark, but a call gets 5, you know? Or is it okay to email? I'm the kind of person, I like to think through it and be careful and say more. And an email is much better than showing up and trying to cram in my insight in a few minutes in a meeting. Is
Yeah.
that somehow inferior? Or is
No,
that
please
okay?
email, please email. We do read your emails. Not all of us either attend or watch the planning commission meetings. I usually watch them, you watch them. Sometimes I get to show up in person, Patrice does. But okay, so what that means is the counselors are learning about what happened in the planning commission meetings by reading the planning commission recommendations, the ROA. And so they will read that because it's part of our packet. We get that the Thursday before our meeting. So if any time after the planning commission meeting or before that, but especially after that, you are sending emails, you are already kind of seeding your opinion in the counselors. So when they do read that report of action, they're like, oh, this is the one that I've gotten those emails about. They've already got context and you are building that context for them.
So emails are most effective between.
Yeah, yeah.
Shortly after the
Whenever it is. And
communication in general is best. After the planning commission.
Some of our people who they work long hours. They're not gonna necessarily read their emails all the time.
I do not check it every single day. But I do read all of them. And I don't respond to all of them. I'll often respond to ones that are asking me something specific, but ones that are for the council as a whole, I read. And I'm like, this is information for me, but it doesn't require an action on my part. But even though I'm not writing a response to you, that's certainly playing into how I'm thinking about the issue, that I know that this many people have raised this concern. And honestly, sometimes I will not agree with the concern. And other times I'll be like, oh, that's a really good issue. Let's take care of that.
She's our tally.
Oh my God, not always, but sometimes. And that's an important thing to recognize is we'll read and we'll respect your opinion and we certainly want it. That's why we've invested so much into this program is because you help us do that community engagement. But it doesn't mean we will always do what you want.
That's always.
So don't think that just because we haven't done what you personally want, that we haven't listened to you. Because we are listening to many of you and we're balancing the needs of our residents and their desires and opinions with the the city needs with the developers, with the recommendations of our subject matter experts. It's fun. Actually, it is fun. I really like it. But please email us. And then if you do come to the public comment, you can say, hi, I'm the one who sent you that email. I just wanted to reemphasize this point, this point, this point. You don't have to feel like you get all of it in, but that helps to yeah, just put an exclamation point.
Not only that, it's the visibility of your resident. You notice when you're there and they notice when you're not there. I was in a planning commission meeting yesterday and we can't say anything because we have the final say. But the people I was sitting around, they noticed that there was no neighborhood chair present. Because they always call for a neighborhood chair. And when they don't show up and don't stand up, people notice.
Anyway, please email us.
Good-
And
good
honestly, if
practice.
you want me to email you back, say, and by the way, Rachel, I need an answer. Then I'll
You did
I'll
get back
answer.
to me recently, so we're good.
Sure.
So general good practice, best practice is when we email you, though, also to email whoever might be showing up at the, like, the neighborhood chair. Right, because if they're showing up to voice.
Well,
opinion,
you
it's a
can
little more-
email in your capacity as a board
Well, I guess
member
as a
or
board
a
member.
citizen, it's fine. If you are a board member, say, by the way, I'm on the board, I represent this neighborhood. And if you have talked to other neighbors and kind of unofficially done a straw poll or gathered some opinion, say, yeah, I talked to 7 people and they like this. We know that that's just quantified at 7 people, right? But it's still something.
And you guys know the neighborhoods better. I'm not walking. It's not. And so what you're saying, and we're, like I said, we take that into code.
That help?
That's not great.
Yeah, please email us.
Okay, Sharon?
So kind of to that, to both meetings, planning or city council, occasionally life happens.
Right.
And the board member or the chair specific can't be there. I think we're allowed to send somebody and say, I'm, I need to send Lynn, and Lynn's gonna get up and speak for the chair and she'll get the 3 minutes. But there's nothing that stops anybody else from any of your neighborhoods. Please come and make your public comment also. It's entirely possible they don't agree with you. That's part of the problem we had in the past, was that I got up and said, well, my neighborhood hates this. And 5 other people in the neighborhood actually got up and said, well, you're not representing. And I'm like, well, straw poll or whatever.
Right.
But so yeah, keep it, with the people I've talked to or whatever.
Or this is what was discussed at our neighborhood district meeting.
So, but yeah, so yeah, you got up and you spoke for what you understood happened at the neighborhood meeting, or what you've spoken to your neighbors about. But encourage your neighbors to come, because like they said, if they have several people that have come and spoken to this issue, well, the board member came and she said they hate it. Is that really how several people feel, or is that how? Because I have seen meetings swayed a little bit by multiples.
Angie, did you have a comment?
Yeah, we're talking about these meetings. How often does planning commission happen? How do we find out when these meetings are?
So planning commission is usually the 2nd and 4th Wednesday of the month. And I will send you an email, one of the many emails that I send you. I will send you an email with the planning commission agenda. And I will say, Angie, this is your neighborhood. You need to show up to this meeting. I did that to Brooke, and Brooke showed up and she did so good. And yeah, so I'll send those and tell you kind of.
So I'm looking at
who
that.
needs to come.
So our first meeting, I think, is on a 4th Wednesday, something like that. Don't the meetings sometimes fall on these planning commission?
No, ours are always the opposite days of the planning commission. So we do coordinate with planning commission to make sure we don't overlap. Okay, courtesy and respect. We really emphasize courtesy with the, when the developers come, we do a little statement saying the developers don't have to come. This is our chance to speak to them directly. You're never gonna have a chance to speak to them directly during planning commission or city council. And people have been super respectful. They ask their questions, they get their answers. It's been really good. But we have not been emphasizing that same courtesy and respect to the city staff. And now a lot of city staff have told me I'm not coming to your meetings because all your people do is scream at me. And a lot of times they're not the ones making the decision you're mad at. They're the ones that the person who made the decision sent to the meeting. And then when the residents just scream at them, they're like, okay, I'm not going in. And so I've had 2 different departments tell me, I'm not going to your meetings anymore because your people have been super rude. So I've done a ton of groveling. And I have one that will kind of come back. They'll give me information. They said they'll sit in the back of the room and kind of see how it goes. But another group has said, no, I'm not coming to your meeting. And kind of the whole point of the neighborhood district program, having the meetings here on a set schedule, is to have those city personnel here for you to speak to directly. So just remember that like I get that you're passionate and I get that they did a project that you absolutely hate. But don't scream at them, don't say bad things about them, because all we're doing is shooting ourselves in the foot, and now we have no communication. And so I'm gonna be emphasizing the courtesy and respect with the city staff, along with how great you've been doing with the developers. Yes.
Is there maybe a statement that other districts have read at the beginning of a meeting to help remind the residents of this? Maybe reminding them that the city employees are here as a courtesy to them.
So we will start doing that because we do read a statement when the developers come about being courteous. But we haven't done that with city staff because we thought everyone would be courteous. So we will start doing that. David?
I was just gonna say, like, even if you want to persuade someone or whatever, you can be so much more effective if you're speaking with courtesy and respect. If, as soon as you go hostile, you're shooting yourself in the foot for that specific item, but also any future item. But also, since we are all kind of in a group, and you know, if District 5 gets out of control and a department says we're not coming back, we're not just shooting ourselves in the foot, we're shooting all of your feet as well. And so just, you know, all the way around, it doesn't make sense. But obviously not everyone who's going to be in those district meetings are here tonight.
Right.
But we set the tone. We absolutely set the tone, and what we allow, like if someone starts going hostile and we bring them back really quickly, and it's, you know, it's very clear that it's not going to be tolerated, then it won't be an issue going forward.
Excellent. Laura.
This is, I don't know if it's horrible to ask. I'm like, is District 5 one of the districts?
Might be.
I was wondering, just wanted to know. Who do we need to apologize to?
But who you should yell at is me. No, seriously,
Was
because I'm the elected official and I'm here to take the brunt of your displeasure.
Right.
Right? And I do like kind words better, but no, this is my job. I'm here to take that. And so really, if you are very frustrated, very dissatisfied, tell me and say, I need you to talk to me about this. We need to resolve this, right? And if you're really, really mad at me, I'm up for election this year. So that's your recourse, right? And that's ultimately how it all works, because the council is the one who makes these decisions, who authorizes the budget, and ultimately we're the ones that you get to hold to account for the things in the city. So do that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll be slightly disappointed if I don't get some frustrated emails after this meeting.
No, that's great. Okay, so public hearing. So one of the main purposes of this program is communication between the city council and the residents, like we've been saying. And one of the ways that you do that is in your public hearings. So again, your zone changes, your general plan amendments, your ordinance changes that are not citywide, will go to your meetings if it happens to match up. Most of the time it does match up. Only occasionally it ends up going to a meeting before it goes to a neighborhood meeting. So usually the neighborhood district chair attends the planning commission and city council hearing to present a 3-minute report of what happened at the meeting. Or like you were saying, if you did a poll of your neighbors, something like that. And keep in mind that when we have our meeting, let's say a developer is here, we send the meeting minutes to the planner to include in that staff report. So your 30-minute discussion about this development gets condensed to one sentence.
Yes.
Sometimes
Read
read the staff reports, because sometimes it says no neighborhood meeting was held. And then that's when I call the planner. I'm like, excuse me, we did have a meeting. And you were there. And so, but their form that they use, their template says no meeting was held. And so sometimes they don't catch it. And so that's all you get is that one sentence. Because I did have a neighborhood chair tell me when I asked him to go to the meeting, said, it's in the staff report, I don't need to go. I'm like, really, that one sentence is what you want to go? So you do want to make sure that's go. But again, district chair, we know you're super busy and there's a ton of planning commission and city council meetings. Send your vice chairs. You have 2 vice chairs. Send any of your board members. Let's say it's a Pleasant View item. Send Lynn. So Lynn, can you go? This pertains to your neighborhood. I'm not able to go to this meeting. You're the one that's passionate about it. Can you be the one that represents and does our 3 minutes? Yes.
I also want to say the report of action that comes to us from planning commission, everything gets reduced to like a
It's like
sentence,
nothing
a
else.
paragraph.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So small. So small. I did not know.
But we do get Rachel's summaries of these meetings. I read them. Do you read those?
No, because I either watch them online.
Oh, you
or
were at the
I'm
meeting already.
in the meeting.
Yeah, but
So no.
your minutes, those,
Well, they come from the secretaries.
yeah, and are they going to all of the counselors? Or am I just special?
I usually send them to the planner. I can't send them to the counselors. But
I somehow I'm on the email list, so I read them.
Well, like I said, even the discussion for the planning commission or the discussion from the residents going up to the podium and addressing the planning commission is all condensed to these little either paragraph or sentence. So just be aware of that. Your concerns are being passed on that way.
right. So we always be sure to encourage your residents to attend the hearings and make public comment or write to the planning commission and city council if you feel like this is an item that they really care about. Traffic studies. Again, I mentioned this really quick. All traffic studies need to go through the neighborhood district boards. So the residents can contact you directly or bring it up at a neighborhood meeting. We had it at District 5. A resident said, I really want a traffic study on 900 West. And everyone in the room said, yes, please, because that is a terrible street that they wanted a traffic study. So the board said, yes, we agree. We want a traffic study there. So then I contacted the traffic manager for him to put that on his list of traffic studies. When he does it, we will present it at a later meeting. And we also are getting a new Provo City website. It goes live end of January. All your traffic studies, I'm posting to that website. So as a board member, if someone says, I really want a traffic study on 2200 North, you can look on the website and go, oh, you know what? We did one a year ago. We can only do them every 3 years. And then you can tell the resident. So instead of, so you can, and you can send them the link to the website and go, here's what it said. We have to wait 3 years for another one to go. So, oh, and yes, I've told the traffic manager to stop using the light green font. If you told me in 2025, he would do a different color. It's almost impossible to happen.
So can I tell him we want light blue?
Yellow.
I'm excited to see what the new ones are, because I'm still looking at the ones from last year.
It's just hard to
The
imagine
only
how it would
time
be
you
worse.
can do a traffic study within shorter than 3 years is if something major is built, like a school. And so it's gonna be very different from the previous tracks. Matching grants, everyone's favorite. So the city council takes money out of the city budget to go to your districts. So they reserve funds so you can decide where it gets spent. So it's not a ton of money, it's $7,500 a year per district. And in order to get the funding, you have to match it to service hours. So it's a twofer. The city council, you end up beautifying your neighborhood using the grant money, and you've beautified the neighborhood doing service. And anyone can apply for a grant. They don't even have to live in Provo. It just has to, whatever they want to do has to take place in your district. They usually present it in a neighborhood meeting, or sometimes they email the board. And usually we get input from residents. We're like, hey, so-and-so wants to do this project. What do you think? The residents are like, that sounds great. That's a great idea. And then we say, okay, fill out the application. So they fill out an application. The deadline is March 31st. So you new people, I know that's like way fast. We're not expecting the new people to be like, I'm gonna get on this. Start thinking of ideas for next year. Always have a second choice for your application, because sometimes things fall through. Like if you're doing a project on private property, we have to have written permission from the property owner. If you turn in your application without that, I'm gonna deny your application. I'm not gonna do a project on someone's private property without written permission. You can't just say, well, they told me it was okay. I'm not gonna do that. You also have to do price quotes, all this other stuff. The applications are a slog. Do not wait till the last minute to do them. They're always take longer than you think. April 30th is the deadline. So from March 31st to April 30th, I'm running around making sure you have all your information. So I'm coming back to you saying, this is over $5,000. I need 3 price quotes or something like that. I'm getting that information. April 30th is when my boss has to approve it. And then May 31st is when we need to transfer the money, because June 30th, our fiscal year goes July 1st to June 30th. And so that's when we have to have the money done.
And Rachel, the
Yes.
service hours are $15 an hour?
Yes, yes. So, so Rob, I don't know if you guys have noticed the fabulous landscaping by Fresh Market here on Center Street. That was Rob's matching grant. It was great. He came up with an idea. He came to the meeting and he said, look, that looks like garbage. I hate that. Let's do it. And we're like, sounds great. He filled out the application, which was a slog, because you had to get permission from UDOT.
Yeah, that was the double slog.
Yeah, so a double slog, and he had to do that. And so, and one of the things with our finance department is if it's something done at a park like Brook, did picnic tables at Lakewood Park. Yeah, nice, because then we just give money to the Parks Department and we say, buy some picnic tables and put them here. And that's really easy. Rob had to do when it's something where it's not city-owned property, something that a city personnel can do, Rob has to pay for that himself and wait to be reimbursed. So that was $7,500 of his money that he put up and then got reimbursed.
You know what though, I got a lot of support from different departments in Provo City.
Yeah.
Parks and Recreation, Public Works, everybody, did what they could.
And you got that grant from to get all the trees, the landscape. Yes. So he really worked hard. So, but you can do, I mean, I know it's not a ton of money, but you can do amazing things. And a lot of people say, well, shouldn't parks be putting in the picnic tables anyway? It's their park. Do your own work. It's on their plan for them to do in 2042. So if you want the picnic tables now, this is your chance. The city council is giving you money, some of Parks's money now for you to decide when it gets spent on. Yes, Mel.
We put in a request to look at increasing the grant money.
We've got our
Yeah.
counselors
Yeah.
right here.
And I mean, we really appreciate it. Obviously, it's great. But we're talking about, you know, how many neighborhoods per district? So if we have 4 or 5 neighborhoods per district, now that amount of money doesn't go very far. So,
Well, like I said, I probably got $3,000 worth of free service from various departments of Provo City. So there's that.
there's that possibility, but still.
When
But
we,
has every district actually used their $7,500?
and that's one of the problems. Everyone tells me they want more money, but you never spend your money.
We do.
And it's
We do.
use it. And most of you lose it.
Can we take over some of the other districts?
Started this program, we asked, did you want to do this amount per district? Or every 5 years you get a big chunk of money? And they voted to do this amount per district. So this came from.
But if we get to April and there's money just not gonna be used, can we put in a?
Can you open it up then to
Yeah,
other districts?
Can, maybe by March
Maybe.
31st, we can put in more applications. And then if nobody else wants it.
Question, counselors.
I would consider that, like changing the deadline so that if some districts haven't done any applications by whatever date, then their funds are up for grabs for the other ones
That'd
who
be great.
already got
Do
proposals.
you want to push it so that the deadline's like February? And so we have more time, because it takes time to fill out these applications. And that's why you should always have like 4 or 5 in the pipeline that you're trying to get ready to go.
I
Yeah.
would say don't move it forward to February. I would love to see you change the deadlines, frankly, because what I see is that we all start getting geared up about February, March for a
And
spring
you,
or
and
summer
you need to
project.
stop
It's
doing
too
that.
late already.
We can't because
So-
it goes with the fiscal calendar.
I comprehend fiscal
Yeah.
calendars, but I also know that the city rolls things over in different departments too, so I don't know why we can't do it in this one.
It makes it hard to do projects in the fall, this
It
timeline.
does that too,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's nothing stopping you from doing an application now to do in the fall. David?
That's what I was gonna say. These are deadlines, so there's nothing,
Yeah.
you could put one in July. You don't have to wait until March.
Waits till March. Don't wait till March.
But you can't put it in May and start working in June.
How does this work with doing a project in the fall?
You could put in your application, say, I don't know, May 31st, put in an application and say, I don't actually want it to start until, I want this to go into the next year's.
Okay, so we can, this June 30th deadline for project completion.
Yeah, that could have been done in the fall and it's done by June.
Oh, so it,
That's because I have to transfer the money.
That's what we did last
I have to transfer the money by June 30th. Once it hits June 30th, finance department takes my money away.
They don't roll it over.
They do not roll it over.
So what I hear you saying
Or something.
is that for the fiscal year 2024, 2025, is that the deadline to get basically our 2024-25 money is March 31st.
Correct.
Now, we could put in an application in on July 1st
Right.
for our 2025-26 money, and then we could do a project in the fall.
yeah. And in
Nothing's
that case,
stopping you from
you
doing
would process it probably in about that same timeline, the month or whatever it is.
Right.
I've just seen, we've had a couple of projects that have worked through June and July, which is right through the middle of your thing. So am I now working for next year's fiscal project? It just starts to
You
get.
can, if you get your deadline, if you get your application in March 31st, and let's say you have a big project and you're like, we did not get it done in June. I will give you an extension
Okay.
to get it done. But
Okay.
you can't sit and do nothing
Oh, no.
till April 30th and then say, I don't agree with your program. I want to do this. And then you still don't turn in an application.
Okay.
Because that's what's going on,
Okay.
is no one's turning in applications.
Rachel, my question on the March 31st.
Yes.
What I have understood in the past is that any of our matching grants proposals need to be approved at a meeting by the board. Is that?
Approved by the board, but they don't necessarily have to be done at a.
Okay, so just by the board.
And in your handout, there is a timeline that I've put down in that, like, once it hits spring, you should be already thinking about what you're gonna do for the next year. Like, I know it stinks because you wanna like have all summer to do stuff. But, it's just our finance department fights me. And my boss thought, it'll be fine, we'll roll the money over. I'm like, good luck, have fun with that. He went to roll the money over, it's like, that was a nightmare. I did not realize finance wouldn't let me do it. I'm like, yeah, welcome to my world. They don't, because it just ruins all their budget. There's like some things where they do allow you, but you have to already have the money allocated in order for them to roll it over. They can't just roll it over because you want it to be. You need to be in the middle of a project where you have like POs that haven't been fulfilled yet, and then they'll roll it.
So we don't necessarily have to have it voted on in a board meeting, but just have to have approval
By
from
majority of
by
the board.
Majority of the board.
Yeah. And there's been many times I've reached out to boards and said, hey, I need a majority so we can go on this.
Right, we've just done it as email.
Yes. Yeah, District 1 did as email because we got one that we wanted to get done and when it was before a board meeting.
Rachel, how many applications do we have so far for this year?
We had one for District 1.
Okay.
Speed sign. What was your other one?
It's the same thing, but in a different location. It's still being worked on.
Oh, I haven't received it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I've received one application and that was for a speed traffic sign for District 1.
So can we assume then from the discussion that the city will consider allocating or, I mean, unspent grant money up for grabs for other districts? Or do we have to wait for something from council? So, but somebody will take this to the council? Or do we have, yeah, but
Maybe we should
do we
send,
need
should we
to?
send the email?
So we regularly review how this program is working. Rachel comes to us with recommendations. We've made some adjustments based on her recommendations from her year of doing this. And so she brings these kinds of things, presents it to the council. We bicker about it.
Yeah.
We do or we don't do.
Yeah.
Based on that.
Would you like us to send an email explaining?
Or do we just count on Rachel then?
Wait until Rachel brings that forward to a meeting.
Okay.
I think that way it can be with other adjustments as are necessary.
And then you guys, once you see that on a work meeting, because it'll go to a work meeting, at that point, that's when I would start sending.
But this could be part of the council budget presentation. They'll adjust in that.
It's the same money, I mean,
Yeah.
we're not
You-
increasing.
You've got it budgeted anyways.
Yeah.
So I have a question. So they're saying that by March 31st, if they don't have the deadline, then possibly in April, the money gets up for grabs for anyone.
Right, but
So-
then it's
So I'm
it's
confused
hard
about
to
the
get
dates,
it.
because it would be nice to be like, hey, by the way, we've given an extension for other neighborhoods to take money, like.
Right.
So does that mean that we could use that extension as well, like instead of giving our money away, because it's extending the deadline for someone?
See, that's the kind of conversation.
Yeah, and that's why we decided against it when we first
Yeah.
started the program.
Because like if you're extending the deadline for someone to take the money, I would like that for my own deadline, to extend my own.
Right, and that was the conversation.
It's just taking the application done. You've already started an application, it's just kind of waiting for, we didn't have any this year. I say that.
Yeah, and so that's why I always say, have a second, there's nothing stopping you from having 5 applications. And doing that, but no, a lot of money, so there's not, you know, we always get asked for more money, but then you don't spend the money we give. And the reason why we have these deadlines is because that's how long it takes to do each step process before we have to, before that deadline.
Can our service hours roll over 1 year or 6 months or?
No, service hours don't roll over. This was just something that Parks had done. It's really nice to do things through Parks because they do all the work for you. So the community service, so this is how you get your service hours. This is how you get your grant money, is doing service. And it has to be something that beautifies your neighborhood that we can see as we walk through your neighborhood. So digging up goat head thorn, clearing brush on the hillside, picking up trash along the Provo River Trail. Those all count for service. Giving free piano lessons, bringing your sick neighbor a meal, landscaping a backyard doesn't count. Landscaping a front yard does count. And it has to be service. So a lot of people, District 4, they do a spreadsheet, a Google sheet that everyone in their area just adds to every time they volunteer and do service. And that adds up. You can coordinate with other groups, and I try to keep track. District 5, because of my hometown, you guys almost always get your hours. I just call my hometown person. They tell me how many service hours they did. I try to keep track, but it's also your job to keep track of how many hours. It's 500 hours of service if you're doing the $15 an hour service. But you can also do if someone donates sod, you can do the price equivalent of that sod will go towards your money.
So.
You also have $1,000 a year for budget. This is another amount that never gets spent. This is for socials, board meetings, neighborhood meetings. You can do cookie strolls, bike rides, neighborhood parties, block parties, backyard concerts. These are all things that your people have done. And you can use that money for flyers, posters, food, special event permits, a sound system. One of the districts bought a sound system so they could have little backyard concerts and stuff. If you want to use it for board meetings, you could do a Zoom account, a facility rental, or refreshments. Neighborhood meetings, we have our district meetings quarterly, so you can have a neighborhood just for your neighborhood meeting in between the district meetings. And you can use the money to pay if you have to pay a school rental fee. You can also do prizes and awards. You can do like a best yard competition, anything you want to do, but it has to be for community socials, board meetings, neighborhood district meetings for village budget. And you have to make sure the rest of your board is on board. You can't just be like, I want to buy this just for me to have on my blog. Like, really quick, communication with, okay, so if you want to communicate with Provo City staff, best thing to do, call 311. Counselor Bogdan still does that. She just calls 311 and has them connect her. It's the best way to speak to city directors and staff. Coordinate with your boards. So you do not have 12 people all calling the traffic manager about the same situation. Beth, your group is super good about coordinating. They have like, how do you do it, Beth? Because you're super good at, each person has their own job.
Well, we meet together at least once a quarter, usually more. And we just do it on Zoom like after 9 o'clock. So, you know, it's not hard to get together, and we meet for an hour on Zoom and we talk about our concerns, the things that we're working on, and then we have action items. You do this, you do this. Now you talk to Rachel. And and so we have.
No, she's super organized, so she divides it up. So it's like, Mel, you are talking to Public Works. I'm gonna talk to this person, and Beth brings them cookies when she talks to them.
Because I wanna say, these people, the staff that work for our city, they work really hard and they do not get a lot of recognition. And they deserve our thanks and support. And I feel really bad that they've been hurt. They've been treated in meetings, but
Well, the
yeah.
best one's right here.
And when we have a issue that we want to meet in person with them, then we have a group, you know, 3 or 4 people that will go and we make arrangements to have the meeting, and they block off some time for us. They're always really nice, really, really nice. That's about it. And I do bring cookies.
And they're really good.
And she does. District 4 is the only district that does their own slides. Since they do their own little, like you're in charge of this, you're in charge of this, you're in charge of this, Beth makes slides, which I then present at the meeting, giving updates on what they have been working on. And so that's been really good. So that's been really fun. They're not waiting for me to do it. They're like, this is what we're working on. Let's see. So residents, of course, speaking with your neighbors, post on the neighborhood Facebook pages. Some board members do their own emails. I also do a newsletter for you, but some of them do their own newsletter. Okay, a new thing is committees. This came from District 4, who has a very small group. They have a very small board. They only have 5 neighborhoods in their district. And so they asked, can we get more help? Because we only have a very small group. Yes, and so I'm giving you a list of who applied for your board position that did not get chosen and kind of what they want to be involved with. And then if you want, you can say, you know what, I want this person says they want to throw parties, I want to throw a party, can I have this person on the party committee? And I'll reach out to them and see if they want to work with you, if you need to add people. Okay, supplementary materials, these in here. Just really quick, what everything is. Map of neighborhoods and neighborhoods districts. That's the same as that big map down there. Map of neighborhoods and council districts, which looks different because neighborhood districts are done by the neighborhood boundaries. They've been around, as you said, like from the 60s. Council districts have to change every 10 years based on population. So the potential committee members, that's that paper. It's colorful. It's got the list of the board members plus potential committee members and kind of what they stated they wanted to help with when they applied. And so that's if it's someone that you want to reach out to. We certainly can ask if they want to be on a committee. We have the schedule for 2025. We've got the org chart with the names and contact information of people in the various parts of the city. We have the code enforcement process flow chart, which is super hard to read. They did like blue on purple. But it kind of gives you an idea of how it goes, and pretty much once it goes into legal, they don't really have control over it anymore. Sometimes it's there for a long time. But that's kind of let you know how that goes. Connecting with your neighbors' ideas. These are just list of things that your other board members have done. James Harding left, but he does popsicles on the porch during the summer. So people can just come and talk. Other people do little events, and it might just be because they like to do them, but that could be something you could do if you're like, I don't know how to talk to my neighbors. You can do fun stuff like that. Art Ocone, he does a pie baking competition. Fun stuff. There's your responsibilities and leadership duties. Make sure to read that over for when you decide if you want to run for chair, vice chair, or secretary. Also, it's completely fine if only one person in your group wants to run for secretary. You'll just automatically be secretary. Or only 3 people want to run for chair and vice chair, and you decide amongst yourselves who you want to be. And it's kind of like, okay, we only have these people running. We have had that in other people. Yes, it's them. We've also elected as chair people who weren't at the meeting. Sarah. So be aware when you don't show up. Election meeting, you might be chair.
Oh, yeah.
The matching grants timeline, I have in there kind of a thing. If you pay attention to that timeline, you can get it done. It's when you wait till spring to come up with an idea. You should have come up with that idea in July 1st. Also ideas for budgets. That's just ideas that other people have done. You can use your budget money to do your own signs. And also signs for other events. District 4 did signs for Light the Hill and just like
Blank sign for any activity that we could put in.
For anything that they do. The planning process flow chart, planning and zoning Q&A. The very last one on the planning and zoning Q&A, I can't emphasize this enough. Do not, and this happens all the time, districts 1, 2, 3, and 4. Do not go to a planning commission or city council meeting and say, I don't want my neighborhood to look like Waukegan.
Whoa, what?
Right?
Whoa.
Right? I hear that a lot in meetings, and guess what? You have people living in Waukegan on the planning commission.
You know what, though? It might not be so bad if you say that, because they might understand where the priorities are. Oh, I don't know.
Items get shut down because someone said that.
We're gonna take their budget money
Like,
now.
this is not going to pass
Nice.
because you insulted my neighborhood.
Wow.
So do not say that. Also, don't treat District 3 as your dumping ground. Don't say, I want a dog park, but not in my neighborhood. Let's put it on the west side. Do not say that, but people do in every meeting. That's guaranteed. They're gonna be like, no. I just want you to know that Joaquin is the most involved neighborhood. They have the most applications for neighborhood chair. They are super love their neighborhood. So, yeah, I've just noticed that in a lot of meetings and I'm like, don't say that. Well, and then there's a really good traffic management presentation by Vern Kiesler, again with the light green font. And he explains exactly what he can do, what he can't do, the rules he has to follow. He's super good. The Provo City Code for this program, you can keep me in line. And the board member contact information, which as soon as I printed it out was out of date. So I'm still getting people's preferred emails. So that is online. And okay, sorry, any questions?
Where do you get the application for the matching grants?
Those are online, so on the city website. You can also request a paper application.
Tell me right now. I wanna know.
So if you go on the city website, and each one of your districts has your own so neighborhood district program. So let's pick on District 2. So you have your own website with information on it. And right here, matching grant. And a lot of times if you have an application, I put it on here. So in this case, no matching grant applications have been submitted. And then it has right here, applications. Click here for the application, click here for more information on the process. Click here for a map of past matching grant projects, and you can see all over the city where it takes it a while to load, where the matching grants have been done. And you can see what has been done, and you'd be like, oh, what was this? And so on the project, and it'll bring up a little description of what happened, so you can kind of see what's been done in the past. Yeah, so it's all online. We are getting a new website end of January. It should hopefully be much easier to navigate. A lot of information is on this website. So that's where you can go, where you're like, have we done any applications? It's right here on the website. Okay, any other, Rob?
Yeah, how do we get copies of all these PowerPoint?
You will get that. I will send you the PowerPoint. I will also send you digital copies of these handouts because some of them are hard to read. You can blow them up on your computer. And also a recording of the meeting. Will all be sent to you either tonight or tomorrow. Okay. Yes, tonight. Anyone else have questions, concerns?
I just want to commend you on that website. It is really fabulous. It's so easy to use.
And hopefully it'll be better. All of this information that's in the accordion is going to be right there on the page. It's gonna be shortened and right there on the page, so you don't have to open these things up anymore. It'll just.
Yeah.
And then some of this stuff, you should be able to find it on the development site, the matching grant, the Facebook feed, the calendar, like all of that will be right there. I'm trying to make it so you don't have to click on a bunch of stuff. It's all just right there, or the new website. But let me know if there's anything wrong about the website or anything you hate about the website, because I can change it.
Anyone else? Questions, concerns?
Okay, just remember that these are your meetings. This is your program. So if you want to change how your room is set up, if you want to change how I do the food, if you want to change anything, just let me know. Also the emails, when you get so many emails. Some people want to see every single email. Some of you are going to be, I only want to get emails about the meetings. And I can take you off those other emails. You tell me what you want. Right now, I'm going to give you everything, but you tell me what you want. Okay.
Let's hear it for Rachel.